This is your 2022 race to the final finish. This is Oscars season. We are hours away from the biggest night in film of the entire year. I'm Josh Rom, and I am joined by the one, the only Miss Kinsey Schofield.
I can only imagine all of the women that are like wrapped in saran wrap right now. Getting, like you said, we're hours away from them having to squeeze themselves into tiny corsets and dresses. So I can't even imagine like how many steam rooms are full and how many people are still trying to lose those last 2 lbs before the biggest night in Hollywood.
Well, this kind of brings me on to my first controversy, because there's the elephant in the room, and I'm not talking about my departure from GB News. I'm talking about present all 23 awards. So the Academy announces, due to wanting to shorten the ceremony and due to pressure by ABC, that they're not going to present 8 of the awards live when the ceremony begins this year. What they're going to do is they're going to have a mini ceremony an hour before the main ceremony. They're going to pre-record it and then intertwine these speeches into the actual telecast itself. And the reason why I think this has been so controversial within Hollywood is because it effectively relegates half of these 8 awards into kind of second-class citizens. And I mean, I don't know about you, Kinsey, but my impression is for it to basically say that some crafts are more important to filmmaking than others. That's what I've been kind of getting.
Right. No, and that's what they said. And I think they called them second tier. Is that what they called them? They called them something that really
Below the line.
Right. That put it not as important as us.
Yeah, below the line has been the kind of term given by people like Edgar Wright, James Cameron, because there's been a lot of controversy.
Right. And, they're saying that some people that attend the award show are going to consider holding the statue upside down or wearing brooches that say that they're with the Academy, wearing them upside down. So there are people that are saying they're going to protest in subtle little ways to the fact that they're doing this. And, I understand their disappointment. They've worked really hard to get into the position that they're in, and to have 50% less clapping. It just seems like you're with the preschool kids, right? That there's only 20 people in the audience, and those are the people that are clapping for you. The bigger stars are still walking the carpet and being interviewed by all of the entertainment reporters. It just seems like you're not as important as they are. You're not good enough. And we all know that sometimes, I mean, it's like I think about Spencer or, Pride and Prejudice, Bridgerton, like some of these shows, the costumes, the makeup, the hair, they are such an important element to the show. So to say that the costume designer is not important enough for the prime time is super offensive.
You said, yes, some of the big stars are still going to be doing press and going to be interviewed. I'm actually putting my hands up. Bravo, Jessica Chastain, because she's very publicly stated that she is going to skip the red carpet side of things so she can be in the room to support the team that worked on The Eyes of Tammy Faye, because she says her performance wouldn't be what it was without them. And I think that's a very bold statement. And actually, as an entertainment reporter doing those red carpets, I know how important it is to do your job and to get all these people on the red carpets. But actually, I commend them for doing that. And if people like Jessica Chastain are going to stick to their principles and skip the press and be in the ceremony, I think that's the ultimate form of protest.
Well, Jessica Chastain is also very likely to go up and accept the Oscar for Best Actress. So if you already know you're going to get a few minutes to, thank people and to celebrate the evening on stage prime time, I'm sure it's much easier to skip the red carpet. But for some people, I mean, I think about Kristen Stewart. Truly, she has worked her entire life for a night like this. She has worked her entire life to be nominated and to perhaps get an Oscar. So while I think she is one of those people that would actually skip the red carpet to show solidarity, because that's just her personality type, I would understand if somebody did want to go in slow
Right.
motion, enjoy the evening from start to finish, and go through each task that is typically what you would do, just because you've worked your entire life for this. And what are the odds that it happens again?
Or is Kristen Stewart just going to skip the press line because she doesn't actually like doing press?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
exactly.
another option.
Right, exactly. That totally could be it too. But no, I understand why people are disappointed by this. And really, it's like, to me, I thought, why can't you guys just throw that stuff at the end? Do the big stuff up front, lock viewers in, and then throw the stuff that you're not necessarily crazy about towards the end of the ceremony. That, I mean, in my mind, that I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to milk it throughout the entire thing. And then, of course, the local news they're all excited because the local news thinks it's the perfect lead in. So all eyeballs are going to be on them throughout the country. But to me, I would have thrown the big content up at the front, lock in the viewers, and then, drop some of those maybe not more popular categories towards the end.
The problem is, as well, forgive me for saying this, and forgive me if I'm wrong here, but people, they're not, I don't think the Oscars are losing viewers because of the length of the ceremony. I don't think that makes a difference, really. I think
No.
they're losing viewers because of the reputation that the Oscars is getting, for one, having all of these big political statements that people don't want to hear from Hollywood. But then at the same time as well, I think there's a growing reputation for the Academy for not honoring and recognizing mainstream cinema, or at least cinema that people are actually buying the tickets to watching. There's this kind of reputation that I think it's getting for only looking at the artsy stuff and the cinematic stuff, in which the average Joe in middle America and middle England aren't necessarily going to see in the cinema.
Right. And that's why they added the fan favorite category, which
But
has already been hijacked on social media by, these little tribes of stans. So what is actually the fan favorite probably won't win. It's probably just who's more aggressive online. But
Well, it's because I think the whole fan favorite debacle is because if the Academy wants to put in an actual popular award, they don't know how to go about doing it. I don't think they actually would know how to go about in making an award and coming up with the rules for it and the entry requirements. So they just say, okay, we'll get everyone to vote on Twitter for it.
20 times a day, which seems totally fair. But I would say that's not the only controversy we see with the Oscars, because it feels like every year we get Oscars So White trending immediately following the ceremony. So it's like they're getting backlash from both sides, whether it's people that say it's too woke or people that say it's not woke enough. I mean, I'm sure they sometimes sit back and go, how do we please people? Like, this has got to be so, that's got to be hard to figure out how to appease both sides.